Hey, this is Mike. I want to welcome you to another Halftime Mike podcast, and we're going to be diving into a series here in the podcast on a game plan for digital marketing, online marketing. And I want to start with the foundations in this session here, why you need a game plan, and why social media should be a part of that game plan. So I'm gonna weave back and forth between different components. And the components that I think are essential, or the key, I'm going to use basketball terminology. You know, on the Halftime Mike podcast, so let's talk about your team. This is the team that makes up your online strategy, okay? Number one, you need to have your website. I don't care, what you're doing. The website is your foundation. Social media can't just be what you do, and it's not good to be without a website in this day and age. So you need to have a website. Then the second component of that is your social media accounts. You should have those, whether you're actively using them or not. You should have usernames on the various key platforms. That's essential to have a strong presence, to be able to use those at the right times, to be used in the strategy that we're going to talk about. The third thing is you need to have regular, ongoing, good quality, resource-rich content on your website. So you need a plan for that. How are you going to get content out? How are you going to make things happen? And how can you get regular content on a weekly basis and then share that on social media, draw people back to your website? What are you going to do with them when they're on their website? Which leads to the next thing. The fourth thing is lead capture tools to capture them when they're on the website, and a strategy for that. The fifth thing is email marketing to help them nurture, because not everybody at all is ready to buy right away. So you need to build over time trust so that they know you, like you, trust you over the course of time. So that's critical to your success, and you need to pull all these things together and then measure what's happening. But too many people don't have these cohesively. All right, let's come back to, I want to draw some excerpts from my book, A Game Plan for Social Media Marketing and Lead Generation, and talk through it from a basketball metaphor. So again, I coached my kids' basketball teams when they were young, and when you coach young kids, what you see is that they have a limited understanding of the game. And you will have, one kid that just dribbles, and he would just go around in circles dribbling, and then, the parents will tell him, you got to shoot, and so he'll just hoist it up wherever he is. So at the early ages, we're talking 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, you often have players that the only strategy they have is either to dribble or to shoot, hoist it wherever, whenever, that type of thing. There's no deeper strategy of how the team works together. Remember, I just talked about in digital marketing, those components. There's no strategy for that. And I am, crossing the bridge, seeing that too many businesses still don't have that kind of a cohesive strategy in mind either. They are thinking through, silos. So, I'll have a website, and maybe I have a Facebook account or an Instagram account. And maybe that's it. And those things aren't working in sync together. Not to mention having some type of strategy where, the pieces work together with some synergy, so that what you're publishing on the website is shared on social media. Some of that is trying to draw them back to the website, where there's lead capture, which adds them to the email marketing strategy, which has a series that goes out to build further trust and offers, sales value, takes them back to the website at different points in time. So there's these components, and most businesses have a gap in there somewhere. So it's kind of like playing, basketball takes a team of 5, right? And you got to have the different positions. You got your point guard, your shooting guard, your power forward, your small forward, your center. You got 5 positions, and they do different things. The center should not be, that's the tall guy, should not be bringing the ball up the court, right? And likewise, the little guy, the point guard who's zipping around with the ball, should not be the one trying to post up in the middle all the time. They need to play their roles, but each, when playing their role well, there's a synergy that happens, and it's like a dance, a musical, that things flow together, and they can go up the court, and there's passing, and there's cutting, and there's positioning, and ultimately they're getting their team in position to score, and they're getting their team in position to defend well. And that's what you need with your online business strategy. You need these components working together. So you need a game plan. And that's what I want to cover over the next course of time. And why do we want to do this? Why do we want to take a look at social media? Let's just step back again and take a look at why. It's a fact now that majority of U.S. adult internet users are using social media. So of those U.S. adults using the internet, 75% of them at minimum, this was from data that was 16 months ago, was at 75%. And that goes up to 90% for millennials and Generation Xers. Okay, so that's somewhere in the realm of 77% of those ages 30 to 49 are using social media. And so it is a key tool that businesses need to be taken into account. So many businesses today, they have websites. I see only a few that say I don't need a website because I've got a Facebook page. That's kind of the flip side. They believe in the social media, but they haven't seen the value of a website. The pitfall of that is that you don't own that Facebook page. It could go away. It could change. You don't know what Facebook has evolved pages over the course of time. They have changed. You need to have a home, a real estate, an office that you own on the web. That's your website. And that needs to be the home base that you can always count on, that you have ownership of, the stake in the ground. So, but social media has grown so that it's a viable tool, and people are using it. Okay, there's been a great adoption rate. We can go into that per social media account. That's for future podcast sessions. But another reason that you want to is not only are they using it, but their time spent on social media is growing massively, all right? And for instance, Facebook is the big kahuna here, that the majority of U.S. users are spending over 40 minutes per day on average on Facebook in little snippets of time. It's not 40 minutes in one block, but it's in snippets of 1 to 4 minutes. And they're doing that, if you got 4 times a day, 10 times a day, you've done that for 4 minutes, you've got it, right? And you think about just the amount of time that people are checking it. They check it in the morning, and check it midday, check it at lunch, check it after dinner, check it multiple times in the evening. Boom, there's 40 minutes. It's tallied up. So they're spending time there, and that's why social media is a place that businesses need to consider for marketing, because of the amount of time spent there. This is where you can get in front of people. We have to talk about the ways you get in front of them, but yes, you can get in front of them, and we want to talk about how you do that. It is a cost-effective method. Now, again, many social media accounts are free to set up, free to post on. If you want to get your bigger bang for your buck and you want to run some ads on them, you have to spend some money, but again, it can be very cost-effective. It's not like going out and getting a video billboard. It's not as expensive as producing a television commercial, often much cheaper than getting a ad in a magazine over the course of time. So it can definitely be a cost-effective measure for you to use as well. And what I want to do, my differentiator over the next series of podcasts here, is to bring these all together and give you a differentiator for a strategy for how these can fit together. Now, I want to give you a quick overview of that today, and then in future sessions, we're going to drill into details of those, so you'll be able to go back and say, I need more on this one, and go into that one and find more information on it. But the reason this is important is that you need to have a cohesion on these things, because people are not necessarily ready to buy right away. Okay, people are in all kinds of stages. They either discover you, or they know about you but they're not ready to buy, or they're in a research mode and you're giving them the information they want. There can be various stages of the buying process. Only a percentage of those are ready to buy right now, and you want to be ready for those. But that's the easier one. The rest is nurturing that process along the way. And so this is a plan to nurture that process. Why do you need that process? Because data has shown, this was from a constant contact survey in 2013 that said it takes an average of 7 points of contact with a company before someone's ready to do business with them. Okay, 7 points of contact. So, number one is knowing that business exists. Number two is learning about what they do, and then there's 3, 4, 5, 6, and where are those touch points coming from? And the key is that social media can be huge in that process. Social media can be huge in enabling you to have those points 3, 4, 5, 6 of contact with them, so that when they're ready to buy, you are top of mind and you have been qualified by them. They're ready to do this. So we want to talk about getting your pieces in place with a digital marketing funnel. And the components of the funnel are, from the top of the funnel, the big picture is to attract the right audience. Okay. The second component of the funnel is to engage those who you have attracted. And this can be more points in the funnel. So the attraction can be step one. The steps 2 and 3 of that 7 can be in that engagement process. Then the third step is to capture. You want to move them on your website where you have some lead capture pieces in place. Then you want to get them into a email marketing list, a marketing automation nurture series, so that you can do email marketing to them in that 5th step. And then the 6th step is we need to measure and evaluate what's happening, so we can see the life cycle, see what's happening in these pieces. So we want to break those down in the course of the next podcast here. Let's start at the top of the funnel with attraction. That's where we're going to go next. But attraction often can start with social media, which starts with being able to have something to share. So you want to have an active page, an active presence online. You don't have to be everywhere on social media. You need to be where your audience is. So you need to understand who your audience, your ideal client is. Is that, a 30-something female? Is it a 40-something male? What kind of education do they have? Where are they spending time? Because that's going to determine what social media networks that you need to be on. For instance, Pinterest has been a women's domain for many years, and so that might be, if you're selling something that is a target of women in their 30s and 40s who are online a lot, then Pinterest can be a great place for you. All right. Now, if you're wanting to sell to 50-something engineers, then Twitter might not be the spot for you, because a 50-something engineer is probably not spending a ton of time on Twitter. Now, one of the good things about Facebook is that it has crossed all demographic barriers, and that's an important consideration to take into account. It's the only social media network that has really rocked the young adult, even into the youth, up through the 55 plus age group. It's the only one, Facebook, that's really cracked the 55 plus age group. So that's important to note. Now, while Facebook is not super strong in the teenage years for sure, it starts getting strong in the 20-something realm and is massively dominant in the 30 to 55 plus sector, which again has major buying power. So if your target demographic is in that realm, then that's a good place to be. And again, maybe you think, well, I do business to business sales, so this isn't relevant for me because we have a complex product. And however, this can be a way where you get in front of the right audience on Facebook, because that 50-something person that you're trying to reach, who manages a factory that produces XYZ, is likely on Facebook and spending some time there. So if you can target them, but in particular we can target them with a Facebook ad for their kind of demographics, we can get them to like our page, and then they can get them to see our content. If we're doing this appropriately, then we get them over to our website, where we can give them a soft lead capture offer, and we get them into our funnel for the email nurture. So that's a quick overview of how these pieces work together. But your homework for today, the practice, okay? We want to talk about, from a basketball game plan perspective, what you need to work on in practice now is taking a look at your assets, all right, your team members. So do you have all the team members that you need? So, do you have a mobile responsive website, something that works well on mobile, tablet, and desktop? Do you have a plan for content? Are you sharing something on a at least every 2-week basis, a new resource article on your site, a new blog post on your site. This is more than your products. This is information. This is how-tos. This is showcasing your company as industry experts. Number 3, have you identified your ideal audience, that persona, who they are, and do you have all, fourth, I guess, is do you have all your social media account usernames for your business? If not, go out and secure those, all right? 5th, do you have an email marketing system that you use, a marketing automation system? Do you use SharpSpring, HubSpot? Do you use Constant Contact, MailChimp, Infusionsoft? These are just a few of the pieces that you could use. You need to have something that we can capture them in the website. That name and email address goes into a system that we can use later on. So take a look at that. And are there tools that you have in place to measure results? We'll get into that one, but take a look at your team right now. Do you have all those pieces? Think about what you need to do to improve those pieces, have those pieces in place. Maybe you're recognizing that you're not doing well enough with content, and that's going to have to be something you take a look at over the next 2-3 weeks to get a strategy for developing content, how you can get to producing at least 2 resource-rich blog posts every a month, and I'll go into details of what that means to be resource-rich, all those kinds of things. So that's your practice that you need to get into motion now, your homework, so to speak, before next week's podcast. And we're going to keep drilling into this, a game plan for social media lead generation, how this all works. And again, you can find out all the details in my blueprint, my book, Game Plan for Social Media Lead Generation. You can find that on Amazon by putting in my name, Mike Gingerich, and we'll go from there. But that's what I got for you today, and want to offer that to you and make sure that you stay with me. This is where we're going to be going over the next few weeks to give you critical help. We're going to have different podcast episodes on the specific funnel pieces then, and the strategies within them, the specific social media account strategies for different social media platforms within those as well. So that's it for this week. This is Mike with the Halftime Mike Podcast. Over and out. Take care. Let the music begin. Boom.